All right, go for it.
Okay, welcome to our team call. We're so excited that you're here. We are awesome. Of course, we have to start our call that way. And today's call is all about how to tell your story. Beachbody just had an event for all of their male coaches in Texas. And so I've been watching a lot of their YouTube videos, just takeaways from their event. And everyone that I've listened to, they just keep saying that their main takeaway was that you need to tell a story. You need to be a storyteller, because right now, I know we talk about this a lot, that you have got to connect with your followers, but right now, as you know, with everybody in your feed, that everybody is into network marketing right now. And so it's even more important to really connect with people, because everyone's selling a product and no one wants to be sold to. So, it's important that you are connecting with your people so you can get some sort of traction. So a story, telling a story is going to be your way, or it's a way to connect with your audience. And it's a way for them to remember you. It's a way for them to relate to you. And it's a way for them to want to follow you. So they talked about a process of 4 different steps that I'm going to go outline the steps, and then we're going to kind of do a little object lesson with you guys. So here is a 4-step process. I'm going to be looking at my notes. It's important too that you want to share your story on social media, but you don't have to share all of your story all at once every day. So, I mean, you want to share your story once or occasionally, all of it, but you want to also share bits and pieces of your story, like sprinkle that throughout your social media. Okay, so here's a 4-step process. The first step is to share your background, what you did for work, your family life, etc. The second step is what you didn't like about it, that current situation or that past situation, whether it's in your job or what you didn't like what was going on in your family, maybe your confidence level, your abilities, etc. The third step is the solution or the opportunity that was presented to you. And then the 4th step is how you feel about your future now that you have this opportunity. So unfortunately, most of us in network marketing focus on steps 3 and 4, and that is what annoys people, okay? And I've done this, so I don't want any of you to think like, oh, freak, I did this, because I did that when I was listening to them. Like, I do this. Focus on step 3 and 4. So that's what you don't want to do. You're never going to connect with people in a way that you want, or a way that's going to bring people to you, if you're just stuck in steps 3 and 4. And that's what 99% of us do. So the most important step in these 4 steps is step number 2, which is sharing, what you didn't like about your situation, okay? And that's important because you are wanting to relate with people. You want people to relate with you. And you want to show people that you, though, are not a victim, that you're a victor, that you were able to get through a situation that was hard for you, that maybe they're in at the moment. So when you share your, maybe a pain or a struggle or hardship or a trial that you were going through, it's a way that you can connect with people, and you can share it. What I have found most likely, or what has connected me with people the most, is when I specifically say how I felt when I was going through that situation. Okay, so for the object lesson, to prove the point, let me scroll over so I can see all of you guys. Okay, let's take Jillian. Can you help me?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to tell us about your steps 3 and 4. So for example, the solution / opportunity that was presented to you. So you're coaching, okay? I want you to tell us about maybe the clean eating group that you were in, and the challenge group, and then the opportunity you have with Beachbody. Just that. Like, don't talk about 1 or 2.
Okay. So I was in this challenge group and I did okay. And my coach presented me with, is this what you want me to say? I don't even know where to go. Okay.
Yes.
And my coach presented me with this opportunity to coach and a way to give back in a way. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that because why would I do that? That's stupid. And then, and I hadn't like achieved my goals the way I wanted to. And then I did a clean eating group. So I kind of did it in reverse, a challenge group and then a clean eating group. And I thought, yeah, maybe I could do this. What was it? What else am I supposed to talk about?
Talk about the opportunity now that you have with Beachbody.
Okay, so now I have the opportunity to give back and do what was done for me and show other women that they can do it too, and that I'm just a regular mom, a regular person. But if I can do this, then maybe somebody else can do it as well. And it's an opportunity to not only take your health back, but also make a little money and be an opportunity to be a leader and better yourself.
Perfect. Okay. So my question, that's perfect. My question for you guys is, she was solely in steps 3 and 4. So my question to you is, do you feel a connection to her with only the things she said, that she's in a challenge group, she was in a challenge group, and she felt empowered through the challenge group, and now she decided to coach to help other people, and she has the opportunity to maybe make a little money while you're doing it? Like, have we heard all of these things before? Have we seen all of those same things being posted? I know that I see those all the time, like from Beachbody coaches, and there is no connection there. I feel no connection there with people because I see it so often. So now I want Lacey, if you will, I want you not to talk about 3 and 4, and I want you just to focus on number 2, which is share what you didn't like about your current situation, whether it was your family life, your confidence level, your abilities, your current job. Okay, and I want you guys to think about how you feel connected with her versus how you felt connected with the information that Jillian gave. And think about your posts when she's talking. Okay, go ahead.
So before I even share this, I want to tell you guys too that don't feel discouraged if you're having a hard time like pinpointing all of these different steps of your story. Like Allie and I have had the opportunity to think about these specific questions for a few days now. And at first I had a hard time like answering like, what didn't I like? Like I knew how it felt, but I had a hard time wrapping words around it. So I would encourage you just to keep thinking about it. Write down the points that you remember so you can craft your story, because it's usually not something that you can just share. You kind of have to think about it first. So with me, I lived a charmed childhood. I had a family that loved me. I had parents that loved and adored and respected each other. I had, good siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, great friends. I mean, from all outside appearances, I should have had a wonderful, beautiful, like no trouble life. But the problem with me is that even though everybody else believed in me, I didn't believe in me. I felt like they were telling me those things just because they had to. And so I spent so many years feeling so uncomfortable and doubting myself and telling myself, you're too fat to cheer, or you're not coordinated enough to dance. And so I held myself back from a lot of opportunities because I was terrified. I was so afraid to fail. And so I stayed in my little comfort zone. And so as a kid, I didn't do art classes and dance classes and things because I was so afraid to fail. And then in high school, I didn't play sports or cheer or do any of those things that my friends were doing because it was scary. And I didn't feel like I fit in or that I fit the mold. And then fast forward several years later, I meet a wonderful guy, I get married, and we have our first baby. And I'm terrified. Like, I wouldn't let anybody leave me alone with my child because I was afraid. Like, what if he cried and I didn't know what to do? Or what if he spit up and I didn't know how to clean it up? Or all of these things, I just doubted myself over and over. And I was afraid to fail. And I was so uncomfortable in my skin that I didn't know what to do. And so as time goes on, fast forward 3 more kids later, And my anxiety was at an all-time high. My depression was at an all-time low. And I just didn't feel comfortable in my skin. I didn't have confidence in who I was. And more than anything, I wanted to be able to go into a room and forget about myself and my own insecurities and focus on other people, because that's where my heart was. My heart was wanting to be with other people, but my head was telling me that I wasn't good enough, or that I didn't fit the mold, or that I couldn't do it because I would fail. And do you want me to share 3 and 4 too? Do you want me to share the whole story out?
No.
Okay.
That's it.
So that's where I was. I was so uncomfortable, not confident, and just miserable. I was just sad.
So my question now for you guys is, who do you feel like in this situation that you know better? Like, would you say you know Lacey better? I'm not even talking about Beachbody right now. Okay, Lacey better or Jillian better? And by the way, Jillian, I should have like asked you if this is okay.
This is
And I'm
fine.
not-
I don't care. I'm good.
Okay. And what you said was exactly what I was hoping you were saying, just so you know.
Okay, good. I know.
So my point being is that when you share parts of your past that you struggled with, even if Beachbody wasn't the solution, the whole point here is for people to get to know you so they can trust you, and do it in a way where you're telling a story that it's like it was them going through it. Because chances are, if you went through something hard, a portion of your followers will have gone through that, or will have sympathy for you and can learn from you and can be inspired by you. So obviously, we also want to tell parts of our story that Beachbody has solved that portion of the puzzle for us, but we want people to know all parts of us, and that comes from telling a story. So I've been seeing a lot of posts lately by some coaches where it's like a motivational quotes, maybe a picture of their kid, and then just when they do talk about Beachbody, it's just join my group is all. And if you're just posting, yeah, that's fine. You can have it. If you're just posting like a thing from Pinterest with no text that means anything to you, okay, with no, I mean, not text in the photo, but if you're not in your own text that you're writing, if you're not putting a portion of yourself into that, and then you just every now and then have a post about join my Beachbody group, no one's going to connect with that because they're seeing that all over their feed. And they can join any group. What you want, you need to give them a reason to pick you. So that was a big aha takeaway for me, is that I need more often, almost every day, to be telling part of my story, even if it's not Beachbody related, just so people can get to know my heart. Because I want to attract people who are like me, okay, or have gone through stuff like me, or I want to inspire people. And so some examples I wrote down that I've seen that have inspired me and that I've stopped to read. And also I've stopped to read them because of the first line that I see. So some examples would be, okay, confession time. Okay, if someone says that, I'm going to be reading it. Or if someone says, you know what, can I get real for a minute? Okay, I'm going to stop scrolling and I'm going to read that. When I know someone is telling me that they're going to share something personal about themselves, I stop to read it. What? Okay, stop. Can you go, please? Go. I'm distracted. I love you. You're adorable. Okay. So my list of examples I've seen. So you can, dude, go. I love you. Oh my gosh, you guys. Last day of school, I got all summer this. Okay. I love him. I do. I'm not a bad mom, I promise. Okay, examples I've seen that have inspired me are when people talk about overcoming a rough patch in their marriage, or when they talk about depression, infertility, if they have a special needs child, bad habits. Stacy had an awesome post about being a past smoker. That really inspired me. When people talk about overcoming addictions, loss of a loved one, maybe a sickness, death of a parent or pet, lack of confidence, any of these things, most of us can relate to hardship and trial. And that's what it comes down to, is that people want to see, people want to know that there's hope. What you're doing when you offer that personal part of yourself is telling people that they can get through hard times too. So, Lacey, do you have examples to share?
Well, I think too, I mean, just to add to what Allie was saying is, don't feel like you need to have a big catastrophic life-changing event to have a story to tell. Because I mean, while we do all have experienced hardships, some of them have been huge. You know, there's coaches that have experienced, you know, abuse or drug abuse or anything along those lines that are pretty big and pretty heavy. But then there's others of us that don't. I mean, like I said, my struggle was my own doing. It wasn't something big and catastrophic. It was just I didn't believe in myself. And so anything that you've struggled with, even if it's, you know, like I didn't like calling the pizza guy because I was afraid. Like that's still a struggle and something that people will relate to. And so don't feel like it needs to be something as large as a death or losing a home or something along those lines. It can be tiny things because that's life. That's every day. And that's what people are going to also relate to. So
really quick, just to piggyback on what you're saying, if you find yourself saying about a certain situation, you know, this isn't that big of a deal, but it's still on your mind a lot, chances are someone is going, more people can relate to the small things. Like I just had a post about my scripture study and trying to find a time that I can fit in my scripture study and that I've been sucking at it, like trying to fit in my spiritual life with everything else that's going on. And people could relate to that because people have a hard time like fitting that in. Or like tonight, I can talk about I'm frustrated with my kids. Like I'm yelling too much at my kids. Like and what I'm gonna do to solve that. And there's a fine line between complaining and helping. Okay, because you don't want to be a pity party. You don't want to, because everyone follows people or unfollows people when you're just getting negativity all the time. When you share these parts of your life, it's important, like we said, to come across as a victor and not a victim. So you want to offer a solution. Even if it's something you're still working on, you can offer a solution like yelling at your kids. So I need to come up with a solution for that, and I'll post about it so I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to interject real quick and say that whenever I post something, like I always make sure that the way I word it, and I'm sure I make plenty of mistakes, but the most important thing for me is to never come off sounding like a victim, like you said. I don't want to be the negative person. Not that being a victim is wrong. I just think even if you are a victim at something, you have to spin it in a way that's more relatable than that, and more positive than that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Completely, I agree 1,000%.
Well, and I think too, it's not only spinning it for the benefit of a good post, but it's also a positive outlook. You know, it's also looking at your life in a way that is a blessing, because we can all look at our life like it's a curse if we want to, or we can look at our life like a blessing. And so I think that that's like an excellent example of finding the silver lining in the hard, you know? So I think that's awesome, Stacy.
So, one thing that spurred on this thinking, other than the what's it called that they just had?
The men's
not a
retreat.
retreat,
I don't know.
whatever they did. As I was at a thing with my church last night, and the person that I work with, she was telling me her daughter just signed up to be a Beachbody coach. So she pulled up her page on her phone for me so I could look at it, because she wanted me to look at it. And as I was scrolling through it, I just was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. It just wasn't good, you guys. Because all it was a picture of her drinking her shake and just saying, like, healthiest meal of the day. And, like, that's it. Or then the next post was just a sweaty selfie. And then there was nothing. Then all of a sudden, that's all that she was. It was just Beachbody. It was just her working out. There was nothing else about her personal life at all. And then when she did have posts, like fitness posts or Beachbody posts, there was nothing. I felt no connection to her at all. And so I want to make sure that you guys don't do that. You need to be connecting with your following. And again, it doesn't need to be followers. It does not have to be this big, ginormous thing. You don't have to lose a parent in order to like connect with people. It's just the little things, the little daily things that you can do that are relatable to other people. So, yes. Lacey, did you end up finding posts or like examples?
Nope.
Okay.
But I think just adding to what you're saying, and I think we've said this, but was thinking about it as you were talking, is it's important to share your everyday hard struggles, and it's also important to still define your story as to who you were. I think that that's like just going back to those steps. Like, it's important to first share your background. So where you were, where you came from, maybe it was your profession, maybe it was your childhood, like I went back to, wherever your background, where you came from, that makes you a real person. And then 2, share what you didn't like about it. It's okay to not like things. It's okay to say, you know, I struggled. So that's where number 2 comes in. Then number 3, then move on to what was the solution. And then number 4, how do you feel now? And so I think it's important to not just share the little hard things, because that will help people connect to you, but in sharing the whole story from beginning of where you started to where you are now will help people see the journey that you've taken, that you are relatable, that you are real, and that you started with hard, you worked through hard, and you've become more, and this is the solution you found in who you are now. And so I would challenge you to kind of really have your story, and it can be as long or as short as you want, but the more feeling you can have in it as to why you are who you are, what created that, what experiences molded that will help you be able to share yourself better. It'll be easier as you've been able to pinpoint why you are who you are. And like I said earlier, it's not as easy to do as you would think. You can't just really come up with it on the fly. At least I couldn't. I had to really think about it. So, challenge you.
Well, most of you should have your story hopefully you have your story that you wrote during your training. Wait, we didn't even have training when you guys all went through. Have you guys done your training yet? I'm just kidding. But people who will eventually be listening to this call, right, team, who are listening to this recorded call, you should have written your story down. Okay, and you can always be revamping your story. And I do want to say that there are 4 steps to this 4-step process. Okay, I'm not saying just to focus on your past pains and hardships, whatever. I'm just saying most people are stuck in 3 and 4. Most people are just telling about my challenge group or this product, and I'm so excited to earn money and pay my house off and all of these things. They're stuck in 3 and 4. And that's not where you're going to relate to people. So your story is step 1, 2, 3, and 4, but don't stay in 3 and 4. The most important area is number 2, and that's where most people aren't capitalizing on that.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's where I'm going with that.
I like it.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to add? You guys have been coaches for a while. What are some have you noticed anything about your successful posts versus posts that aren't, or anything like that?
No, nothing.
Nothing at all?
I like every single one of Stacy's posts. I think she's amazing with her posts.
Stacy's a good poster.
She is. She's a good poster. I've noticed that I do get maybe more feedback when I'm talking about my kids in a mom situation. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I think that's a popular one.
Yeah, a lot of people relate to that.
For sure.
I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
I think I get, am I unmuted? I think what I do when I'm short on time is to throw up a graphic that I make. I don't usually take it from anyone, but you just throw that up there, even like the sweetest quote. I don't get many people to like it or look at that or anything. I get responses when I ask questions, like when I'm enlisting help for them to help me solve some sort of little problem. But I think we've all noticed, like, if you ask the most mundane thing, it blows up. Like the fridge, everyone likes to talk about our fridge, or what's in there. The silliest things, the watermelon. I haven't used that one yet, but I probably will. Like, do you salt it or put sugar or use it plain? Like, those are so crazy.
I had never heard of that before.
Oh my
Salting or
gosh.
sugaring your watermelon?
There was a lot of people on my feed that said that they'd never heard of it. Most of them were Canadian, so I did.
I love salting my watermelon.
Never heard of it.
That kind of stuff, though, I think gets there. And I think I try to well, I've been sort of absent online lately, but I try to get some of that so you can just get the likes, comments. I don't get many shares, just to get, so then more people are seeing my more quality posts that I spend more time on. But I'm bad about sharing my story. I usually just, feel like I complain about the kids. Just stop doing that.
But everyone can relate to that. That's
they like it.
I know for me, I don't work my personal page as much as I should, because we're mostly focused on our like page. So when I talked about waking up early and getting more done, I posted that on my personal page, which for some reason, I don't know, because I don't usually, anyways. And I was surprised at the response that I got. Not that it was overwhelming, but it was just more than I was expecting. And it just made me realize that people also like advice, about waking up earlier. I had people message me and say, thank you so much for telling me or reminding me about waking up early and how much more I can get done, blah, blah, blah. So it's not just about, okay, thanks for telling me. I don't know where I was going with that.
I think you were
remember what I just said.
Kind of just talking about advice and tips.
Oh, yes.
So I think tips are one that I've had good success with.
Mm-hmm.
That you do find success with that? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So if you give just tips or free recipes or did you knows or things that people don't think about all the time, maybe they never even knew. A few weeks ago, I posted when I was making Preston's peanut butter and jelly that I store Preston's all natural peanut butter upside down. And then when I flip it up and open it, the oil's not on top, so you don't have to stir it.
Uh-huh.
And people love that. They really didn't know. I think I learned it from TV one day, but so little tips like that.
I think that's great. That's perfect.
Totally.
I know I don't get a lot of traction on posts that I don't say much on. If I just post what Erin was saying, if you just post a from Pinterest, even if you do it yourself, I don't get a lot of traction. There are a few though that go crazy. The one that we just did a little, it said, I'm sick and tired of food having calories. And it got and all I said was truth and did my little peace sign. I mean, that was shared over 100 times and got 600 likes or something like that. Freak, man.
I seem to fall in. I found a pattern with the generic quotes of the day. I kind of think of them as, if I don't have a personal graphic to put a quote on and I just use a random background, I usually post those at 6 a.m., between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. And they basically get attention throughout the whole day. Maybe not 20 or 30 likes in an hour, but 5 here, 10 there. They just stay alive throughout the whole day. So if I use a quote or something, I try to do it earlier in the day. Mm-hmm. And it seems like if I post them before 7, they do better than if I post them right before I walk into work.
Okay.
So it's when I first wake up, I try to come up with something or have something ready so I can post it.
That's awesome. That's good advice.
Well, and I think it all kind of depends on your demographic as well, because we used to do our first posts in the morning at 5 a.m. and they would be they would stay alive all day. But now if we do them that early, they flop. They're total flops. We have to post between 6:30 and 7. And so it's just kind of watching your demographic, watching how it changes. And I think Erin was saying, it's important to have those posts in there that aren't necessarily big inspirational, life-changing, this is my story kind of posts, but ones that are just going to keep your feed alive, keep people happy and excited to hear what you have to say. And then connect it also with those posts that are your story. And I think that, the kind of the pit that Allie and I have fallen into that we're still learning is we have kind of gotten stuck in step, I don't even know what step we're in just inspiration and advice and whatever. And then
those steps.
In a while, those steps. Step 1A, I guess. But we have been, then we throw out one post about a challenge group and want it to go, want people to follow us and want to do it. But we haven't talked enough about our solution. We've talked about our problems and how to solve, the solution with, how to help our kids and how to, that kind of stuff. But we haven't talked enough about our solution that changed, that got us coaching. The solution that helped us to believe in ourselves, which was the challenge group and coaching and all that kind of stuff. And so people don't know what we do, which is great. We don't want to blast them with Beachbody, but it's still important for them to understand and see the results that people get in your groups and see that you are making a difference in these groups and that, it's worth it to join a challenge group. It's worth it to be a coach. And so it's important in every single one of those steps to make sure you take into account that, one, you're a person and you want to share that you're a person, and two, you're also a business and you want to share your business. And so it is a fine line. It's like a dance. And so I don't think that there's a set formula that will work for everybody. And once you find a formula that works for you, it might change. It's like raising kids. Once you have it figured out, they throw you a curveball. But it's definitely, it's like a dance. Some posts are going to do awesome and some posts are going to flop. But as long as you're consistent with sharing who you are as a person, where you came from, how you changed, and how you feel now as related to yourself, being a mom, being a wife, being whoever you are, being a coach, that's what's going to lead to success. It's just continuing to share all aspects of your story from beginning to end. So that's my thought on the matter.
What I just want to really get across is please, please, please don't just get stuck in steps 3 and 4. If you're on our team, I want to make sure that that's not what our team is known for, is just plastering about your challenge groups, or because we really want Team Empower to empower other women. And that comes from not selling a product. It comes from helping people. We want to help people and empower people. And that doesn't come from just occasionally, or not even occasionally, some people do a lot, just posting about join my group or challenge group or pictures of them working out, which is all great stuff, but you need to connect with people. I do have one more example for our newer coaches. So saying that you're uncomfortable in your own skin, that's a great phrase that I use a lot, but one of my latest posts I had said specifically, gave a specific memory that I had, that I remember being uncomfortable in my own skin. And I remember having a great day at the park with my little boy, and how he just started walking, and I was watching him walk, and he was holding my hand, and my husband had taken a picture of us walking away. And when I saw the picture on his phone, my heart just sank, because all I saw in the picture were my love handles and my big bum, and I deleted the picture. And even, 6 years later, I regret deleting that picture because I was uncomfortable in my size, but how much now I don't care. Now I just want to see that picture of when he was little. And people can relate to that. People can relate to deleting pictures. Yes, people can relate to feeling uncomfortable in their own skin, but I feel like that's a term kind of we're hearing a lot of now, that it's kind of brushed over now. So if you can give an example, so not just saying I was uncomfortable or I didn't have confidence, giving a specific example of what that meant to you. I had so much anxiety that I had a hard time even calling someone on the phone, or I don't know, deleting pictures off your phone. Just an example like that with my son, that got a lot of traction for me, because people could relate to doing that. So anyway, I hope this hasn't been an all over the place call. We just want to make sure that you know that you need to share your story, please. It is important to share those 4 steps, but please, please, please do not stay in step 3 and 4. That's not what we want to be known as a team, is just to be pushing product. And you want to be able to relate and connect with your followers. Both of those are right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, are there any questions or anything? All right. Well, we will let you guys get to bed, because all of you guys are in later time zones. You too, Erin, right? You're in a later time zone too. Where are you from again? I don't know. Where's
Wisconsin?
From? Wisconsin. That's right.
Yeah, it's 8 something.
It's still light there, though. I see it.